Just a quick review for the assignment 4, and they have like 12 questions. So first one is just basic converts the temperature to the from the Celsius to the Fahrenheit Celsius degree. Ask the input, got the input, converts the calculation, and give the output. Pretty straightforward. The second one is just want to save this as a file and directly running from the command or the terminal. I'm using the Mac, is running the terminal. First the things is import the SAS and getting the input Fahrenheit number and using size.average. This one is right behind the Python command you input and convert that and give the output, and the output including the given temperature and the final output. And the next one is to reading from the files, and the first things we want to open the file and read the file and read the contents and got the data. And since they have the three lines, and so the last line thing in the string is the data of the functions we're looking for, and this one is just the conversion and the output. And in here this is the output, and the next test is the same things. Open the file, and this the first create a string, and create array, and open the file to read, and create the reading, and using the for loop to looping the readings, and to got all the potential input Fahrenheit degree and add them into the arrays we created, and open the output file, the name output, and this is write file, and using the for loop to write all the elements into the file and finish the. And the next step is just testing using if they have any issues with Pythons, and we want to direct running, and with the expansion try and expand to have errors, and input, and try that and got the. If they have any unexpected from the input, they will give the arrows, and there will have like soft-defined rest to explain that, and converts the degree and give an output if they don't have any issues. The next task is to justify the inputs type, and the first things we ask input, and the next is just output the type, and using the type of f, and we want to using this format, Python format. So this one is just try to save as a Python, and directly just enter got the input of this Python name. And the next one is just to try the if we can run in the Python in the terminals as the Word and the TXT, both of them have the issues. Is giving the errors like if cannot find the main module. So I think it's due to the they don't have the meet the Python's compiler. And the next one is calculate the gravity turbulence, and gives the gravity and the initial velocity and the time, and calculate all that. It's pretty straightforward. And the next one repeat the last questions. We want to use the Python in the terminals, and so we just add the title, and since this is the gravity, we just need like two inputs, and there's two variables, and getting the right behind the file, and calculate out and give an output. And then the next questions we want to have like got any like index errors if the where input have the issues. So we're defining here and using the try and except, and to check the two input agreement. And the first one and the second one is the same concept, but one is related to velocity, one is related to time. And we gave this another like soft-made instruction or the error message. And if they don't have any issues, we go into the calculation to calculate the distance we traveled is traveled, and in here is like giving this test and to mitigate issues and give the final output. And the last question is in here we want to calculate the input files from the data text and count the how many words and what we have. And in here we have like 3 words and reading opens the files and the data files and got the data and it comes the wording initial and sets down like initial down numbers and using the for loop to loop every elements in the arrays and count that and outputs how many words we have and its total numbers of the words.